Hey guys, welcome back to Roots and Refuge. Maya here again, and I am back in South Carolina. Like I said in my previous update video on the process of moving and transition, I was going to be making what I'm calling a deconstruction, or taking stuff down that we don't want to keep or isn't going to work for what we're doing. And so we're here for the next 10 days. I've got me, my brother Noah, and Jackson, my oldest son, and we're going to be here, just like I said, deconstructing fencing, trimming trees. We've got to cut all 27 acres because it's grown up pretty tall, so we've got our work cut out for us. But by the end of this trip, what I'm hoping to do is have everything cut, trimmed, looking pretty good, get all the trees trimmed up, pile up the branches, and then be ready to come back at the beginning of July to start building fences, so that way we can transition our farm here by the end of July, beginning of August. Now this trip, because of just the crazy amount of work that is involved in honestly, all areas of what we're needing to get done, I did take some people up on their offer to help. And one person is, we've got Chris from Single Dad Homestead. And Chris is back over here hanging out with Noah.
Hey guys.
So Chris is here. You're about what, 3 hours out? 3.5?
3.5 hours out.
3.5 hours from us. So now basically he's a neighbor. I mean, that's about,
we didn't quite get him into Appalachia, but close enough. Yeah,
but after you see all the property, you understand why.
It's gorgeous, guys. This is going to do everything that they want done.
So he's going to be here for a few days, and we're just going to, like I said, we're just going to knock out as much as we can. But I'll go around and kind of give you a quick update on what we're currently working on, and then I'll shoot footage throughout this week just showing you what we're doing and as we're getting it done, so y'all can see the transformation. Hi Noah, you haven't been on YouTube for a while, so probably should reintroduce yourself, say hi to everybody.
Hi, I'm Noah. I'm the youngest brother.
Are you the coolest brother?
One of them.
One of them? That's a good answer. It's like non-committal.
Did you ever announce that I was working for you yet?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, I'm working for Jeremiah now. So
yeah, like the tip of the hat and everything.
Hi.
All right. So right behind me is the original gate that was shown in that very first video when we revealed the property and where we're going, where Jessica stepped through and it had like a yellow rope attached around it. That was actually right here. We actually took that out because, one, it was only about 12 foot wide, and that's not wide enough for pulling stuff through. I was able to get stuff, get my trailers and stuff through, but just on a daily basis, like, I don't want to have to stress out about that kind of lack of space. So we actually took that gate out, and the reason why is that it was only 12 foot. Also, it was really close to the road. I personally like having my gates recessed back, so that way as I'm pulling in with like a trailer or something, I have enough space to kind of straighten up and get off the road before I have to either get out and open the gate, and if eventually we put like an automatic opener on it, I can just click it open, pull off, and just go straight through. And I'm not having to worry about like, hitting anything as I pull off the road. So we pulled the posts out, took down the H braces, and we set them back there. There's 2 posts behind me. That's where the new gate's gonna go, and then we're gonna build up some posts to kind of curve around here, and then once we rebuild this fence line right here, we'll attach everything together. So this is one we're working on today. We're gonna take this dead tree out, cut it up, and use it for like a bonfire while we're here, hang out, roast marshmallows, eat some hot dogs. And then other than that, we are just weed eating, cutting grass, and also once we get the grass cut, I'm going to walk around and put some more permanent stakes down, kind of staking off where the different buildings are gonna go. The modular home, we've got all that squared away. It will be here it'll be here the middle of July, and it should be move-in ready by the first week of August. So that's a huge relief for us. Like, just the fact that it's all squared away and done now is fantastic. But I'm gonna go ahead and mark off where that's gonna be. The reason I'm gonna start marking off the buildings is because it'll help me spatially understand where I wanna run my fence lines. And also it'll help our septic contractor be able to set the tank and the pump chamber and all the stuff we're gonna need for the septic system, for the shop, and for the modular home. Other than deconstructing, fence lines like this that are just, old wood falling apart and bob wire, stuff that we're not gonna use, we've got a ton of that stuff to take down. But honestly, cutting grass and getting the field workable is top priority right now. So Chris got his chainsaw out, and he's gonna go ahead and wedge and we're gonna basically just drop this tree towards the pond, and then like I said, we'll cut it up and use it for a bonfire later. For those who don't already know, and I know a lot of you probably do, but just in case someone's watching who doesn't, I'm no professional like forestry person or tree person. I have cut a lot of trees in my day. I have learned a lot of things. That's actually one thing that my job in the Marine Corps taught me. In the combat engineering field, you actually get handed chainsaws and you guys go out and learn how to drop massive trees, mostly for the purpose of if you need to build some kind of like deterrent or barrier for like vehicles and stuff, like on the fly. They teach you how to do that kind of stuff. That's why I learned how to do it. I'm going to go over just a couple of basic things that, my knowledge on trees and dropping them and how to be safe and be wise with it. Like I said, guys, I'm not a professional, so I may not know everything, but I know the basics of safety, and I've never had a tree fall on me, so there's that. First thing you're gonna do is, don't get in over your head. If it's too big and you don't feel comfortable with it, don't start cutting into it. So that's, first piece of advice. This is a really small tree. It's not real tall. It's already dead, so it's a danger for stuff falling already anyways. But I mean, we could probably push this tree because it's pretty vertical and it's got a lot of weight hanging to the right, which is the area we're going to drop it towards. There's nothing out here, so this is going to be a very easy felling, I think is the correct word. But essentially what you're going to do first is figure out, okay, where do you want to cut it, which direction are you wanting it to fall, and then from there you're going to go and make a wedge cut. So you saw Chris cutting the wedge cut. That's essentially what that is right here. And then to drop the tree the rest of the way, you're going to do what's called a back cut, and he'll come in from this back side until it connects up with the wedge. And then naturally, because this part's missing and the weight of the tree is moving this direction anyways, it will naturally start to fall towards the wedge. The last thing you should always be aware of is, if you're around other people, like we've got multiple people out here today, is you make sure that nobody's around whenever you're about to make your back cut and the tree's gonna fall. So that's basic 101 tree safety, cutting, stuff like that. Should be pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I don't anticipate any problems on taking this little bitty tree down.
Cut it up. Don't even need to cut it up.
So like you basically one wedge cut and one back cut, and we already disassembled the tree into firewood. That's pretty simple. Now this is also a perfect example of why I said this tree was dangerous. I mean, as soon as it hit the ground, it exploded into pieces because it was just that dried out and dead. So this was a good idea to get it on the ground and get it cleaned up, so that way it doesn't fall on anybody or anything as we're moving stuff in and out of here. This is actually the camera I use. Jessica uses something different. I can't stand she uses the massive camera. I can't do it.
I'm gonna have to, I'll probably go because I like the way hers looks.
Well, you can check it out when she gets here. But so when we started taking people up on offers to help, we had gotten an Instagram message from Jesse like right after we announced that we were moving, and then he found out that we were like really close. And he's like, hey, if you ever need any help, and I'm the kind of guy that if you say, hey, if you ever need any help, I'm probably gonna ask you if I actually need something. So I messaged him and said, hey, we're heading that way. We're gonna be there for 10 days. Got a ton of stuff to do if you were serious about helping. And he's like, I was. And so he showed up this morning and brought his zero turn and a weed eater, and has just been going to town. But he actually has a YouTube channel of his own. I'm gonna let him tell you about that, so take it away.
All right, so my YouTube channel is called The Farther You Go, and basically it's like what they do. It's homesteading. It's just documenting us starting our little homestead.
Who's us?
Oh, my wife and my 2 children.
2 children?
Yeah, 2
Boys
children.
or girls?
A boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl.
Yeah.
What ages?
All right, so my girl is 8 and my boy is about to turn 4.
8 and 4.
So it's us starting our homestead, and
how much land?
It's on a little over 2.5 acres.
Man, you can do a lot on 2 acres.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean I watched a couple people on YouTube now that do it on 1.5 acres. So
sure.
Obviously we can't.
You want to upgrade though at some point.
Right, we definitely want to upgrade. We want to eventually be able to get cattle,
right,
or sheep, you know, things like that. So right now we have chickens and we raise eggs. We did just enroll my daughter in the 4-H program.
Okay, cool.
So she just got some pullets and raising them for that, and those will be her own little business venture.
Okay, so cool. I was actually going to bring that up. Some friends of ours, actually in Arkansas, VW Family Farm, their kids are teenagers now, but when they were that age, they started their 4-H, and they built up the flock and sold the eggs, and they got to keep, and they managed the business, and they got to keep the profits and stuff, and so that'd be really cool.
Yes, that's what I've told her. That'll be, you know, a teacher responsibility. Not that she's not responsible, because she does help take care of the animals now. She has her chores, but this will be her thing. It's like she's at the age now where she wants toys, or where she wants, you know,
there's something. There's something you can teach her a lesson on saving and stewarding, and that would be good. So do you just do the chickens? Do you ever do meat birds? Are you raising any of your own meat yet?
So right now we're only doing egg layers because, like I said, we just started. We do want to move into
some meat
because to get away from buying meat.
Sure.
I do hunt, so that gives us a lot of red meat on good seasons. And I already have a plot picked out where we'll put them in tractors and move them
around.
Day.
Cool. What about any other animals? Do you want to do pigs, or are you going to wait till you get to a bigger property?
We actually have enough spot. We have a good wooded area at the bottom of our property that is,
okay, so it'd be away from the house.
Yeah, so it'd be away from the house, and that's where we would put them. My wife kind of put a halt on getting more animals right now.
So you're okay. So it's opposite.
Yeah.
I'm the one that controls the animal getting on our property, and most of the time I'm like, yeah, probably should wait, or we should downsize.
Right.
And Jessica's like, I don't know, maybe we can go ahead and do it. And so, like, it's interesting to find out, like, who's the animal getter and who's the more conservative.
Well, what's funny is my wife is an animal person. She absolutely loves animals, but she's also more realistic than I am. I'm a very compulsive, like, I like to, like, when I put my mind to it, I want to do it now, and I try to figure out a way to do it, and kind of away from
it. Jessica has, you know, she wouldn't have to do that now, but in the past she has brought goats home in the back of a minivan with our kids. Yeah. Like, so she's done some compulsive stuff, but we've got through it, and honestly, I've learned to give in a little more, and she's learned to back off some on crazy animal buying. Yeah. Now, when we get out here and we have a barn, like, there's no telling, she could fall back into her old ways, and
could happen.
Literally, just like, she takes off in my truck one day, and I'm like, oh no. Yeah. Comes back with a trailer full of cattle or something. I don't know. I mean, she's capable of anything, obviously. So
we did get 2 Nigerian dwarf goats.
Oh yeah.
Because she did. That was her idea, and I was trying to be the one that was like, no, let's wait. And so it kind of, I don't know what happened and when it flipped, but
you still have them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they're not.
I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, we got them, and then we decided like,
No, we got them. We have them. They're at the house. Okay. You can see them all over my Instagram and all over the YouTube. We absolutely love them. The cutest thing is the kids love them.
2 females?
Yes, 2 females. So we will, when they get old enough,
breed them and all that.
and use the milk.
And milk them like this?
Yep. Just a little bitty little sweet milk.
So yeah, just a little bit.
Just sweet enough to take your bowl of cereal and.
Or maybe just like cream your coffee a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
That's good too. Yeah.
But we still love all of our Arkansas YouTube friends, but you know, we're moving community, so it's good to start building the community where you're going to be at. So it's awesome to meet you. Thanks for coming out and helping.
No, I appreciate it.
And I'm sure we'll be seeing more of them and the rest of his family. I would love to meet the whole crew.
Absolutely.
Once we probably get settled, you know, we might do like a cool party or something and like hang out.
When you're not here, you need somebody to watch the property. I'm gonna come fish your pond.
Yeah, you actually are welcome to fish the pond. All right, bud, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, so we have been here for a little bit over a week, and I haven't really been showing Jessica just a whole lot of what we've been doing because you guys know how I like to kind of surprise and shock and awe. It's kind of the same reason why I undersold how good this property was when I came out here by myself the first time. I really just like to see people's reactions to like a reveal. It's just something that I think is fun. We've been working super hard getting the first items on the checklist we need done, and I wanted to take you guys around and show you the progress we've made, and also kind of go over from our perspective and just the way that I do things and think about things on taking this essentially raw piece of property from raw land to moving our homestead to it. So let's go around and talk about the different things that we've been working on. One of the first things we had to start focusing on when we got here was how tall the grass had gotten. Once we closed on the property, there were no more animals out here. The previous owner had moved the cattle off, and so the grass is starting getting pretty tall and pretty thick. And in those conditions, it's really hard to work and to do the other things you need to do, especially when it came to getting a septic system put in. They have to put their pipes in with the contour of the ground, so they have to be able to see the ground to do their job. So one of the first things we tackled was getting the fields cut and bush hogged to get the grass down so we could actually work without having to fight the environment, I guess. Okay, so these are our main fields right here. Right where that tree is, that first tree right here, that's where that old cross fence used to be that ran to the barn and then up to where you come into the property. And we've got everything cut, and it's cut pretty low. I ran the bush hog pretty low. But thanks to one of our neighbors, he actually let me use his bigger tractor, because our smaller tractor was great for our homestead. It's definitely a little small for this size property, and it would have taken me a lot longer. But like I said, our neighbor let me use his big Kubota with a 10-foot bush hog, and that was a extremely generous offer and gift that helped us actually get done as much as we got done, because I actually spent half as much time bush hogging the fields as I was planning to. So super helpful. So one thing you need to consider when buying raw land is to get anything done, you are going to have to make sure you have a plan to keep the grass cut and manageable for while you're actually working. So besides the various viewers of the channel that have come by, thank you guys for coming out. I don't want to name everyone's names because I actually didn't get everyone's permission to mention them on the video, but you guys know who you are. We definitely had a few families come out while we were here and help out, but one person who has worked steadily and faithfully is Jackson. And then we also met our neighbor who's right over here. He's picking up a branch probably twice the size of him, is right here. This is Spencer. Spencer, say hello.
Hey.
He lives down the street, so he's our neighbor. You're what, 13 years old?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is his first YouTube debut. He wants to get on a YouTube video so he can show all his friends that he's YouTube famous. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. He's a hard-working kid. I think we're going to have a great relationship with him and his family. His grandparents are awesome, so we're super grateful that you came out here and helped us. And
Thank you.
we're appreciative of you, man. If everyone in South Carolina is as hardworking as you, we're gonna get some stuff done, you know what I mean? So another thing that'll overgrow on property that's not being maintained the way that we're gonna utilize it is trees. All of this row of trees had low-hanging branches. You can see how the grass is still tall around the bases of them. That's because the branches were so low, I couldn't get the tractor, even my tractor, in to cut around the trees. So we came in with a pole saw and trimmed up all the trees so that way they could be accessed from underneath. And also, because our house is going to be back over here in this part of the field, that's actually going to open up the view from the front porch of the house and from the shop over all of our pastures and over to the front part of our property. And so that was one thing that we're contending with, is having to trim trees. We only did this row and a few others, and honestly, this whole back row of tree line is everything's hanging over our fence line. So when we go to fix that fence line, we're gonna have to trim all those trees and get all those branches piled up. So tree trimming has definitely been a job for this round of work. Right now the boys are working on getting the branches out away from the trunks of the trees so we can use the tractor to push them into a pile, and once we actually have the well and water access, we'll do some burn piles. I'm not going to start a fire out here until I have a source of water to be able to contend with it if it gets out of control. So staying safe on that regard and don't want to burn the field down. Also, I apologize for the shakiness of the video. There's really not a lot of places to set the camera, and also I'm having to move around on the property a lot to show the different spots that we've done the most work. So I'll do my best to keep it as stable as I can. The next item on the list of things that we needed to accomplish on this, and that depending on which piece of property you guys are looking at, was deconstructing old fences. Like I said in our reveal video, at least I think I did, there was cattle on here, and cattle fence is usually 4 or 5 strand barbed wire, and that will not work for goats and poultry and kids and the kinds of stuff that we're going to do here. So we knew that we were going to deconstruct the barbed wire fences. Some of them were pretty new, but they just didn't work for what our purposes are. And so we kept the T-post, and we're just going to restretch fabric on the good parts, and then the parts that were kind of falling apart and had rotting posts and things like that, we're pulling those completely down. And like this one right behind me, this run, which I don't think if you can see it, so kind of right where I'm standing, straight back to that post right there behind my head, that was a cross fence that sectioned off these 2 pastures, and we took that down and then we bush hogged the fence line. It had just gotten really overgrown with some really thick brush and ant hills and different things, so we bush hogged that down. Besides the fact that this fence was just old and needed to be replaced, we decided that this is not really where we wanted to cross fence the pasture. We're going to restructure some of the pasture sizes and shapes and stuff to kind of accommodate more of what we're doing and what our needs are, like rotational grazing, the pigs, and different things like that. So all the cross fencing's down on the inside of the property for the most part, and then we also, after we got that done, we started working on the perimeter fence. And we've gotten, actually, as far as the main pasture goes and around the small pond, we've gotten all of the posts pulled out and all the fencing down. And so all that's left to do is to run a bush hog over part of it and kind of like clean all the brush out and all the ant hills and all that and get it flat. And then we're going to reset all of our corners and H braces and gate posts, and then T-posts go back in, and then we'll stretch goat fence fabric. Okay, so the rest of the cross fence we took out runs all the way up past that tree, and then the perimeter fence started there and it goes all the way down past that house to kind of where that pine tree is in front of me right there, and then it goes all the way down that street and all the way around. All right, so all of that fence is what we've taken out so far. When we come back on the next time, we'll have a little bit more deconstruction to do. I did not get as much of the deconstruction side of building this farm as I wanted to on this trip. So we'll spend the first couple of days of the next trip finishing the deconstruction side, mostly around the pond. We didn't really get as much down there done as I would have hoped, but it's okay. We ran into some hiccups and I had to handle some other stuff. Okay, so moving on from like deconstruction, so taking fences down, buildings that you don't want, or even just deconstructing parts of buildings so you can redo them to be more functional for what you're doing, which is part of what we're having to do on this property. We had to start figuring out really quickly the utilities that we're going to use. So electricity is going to come in obviously from a company. Eventually we may explore solar and some alternative options, but for now we just want to get power out on the property so we can be able to just be out here and charge batteries and do what we need to do, and then also whenever our house gets here to have electricity for the house. So we've got that mostly squared away, and I'll go over that in a second. The other 2 things is you have to have water and you have to have some kind of sewer or septic. Those 2 things are not going to be provided by a city utility or a county utility, so we're going to dig a well ourselves, and we're going to put a septic system in that will essentially handle our sewer needs essentially on our property. Both of those things require permits, but we are going with contractors and they pull all the permits for us. So I did get my septic permit. We've had a little bit of problems finding the what South Carolina usually uses in their drain fields. That particular pipe is not available. And it's not available for pretty much everybody, contractors and homeowners alike. And so there's been a massive shortage and causing a lot of problems. We're no different. We are trying to get the septic in before we have to move in, and we're hoping that will work out, but we just run into a lot of roadblocks. And I was trying to solve the problem of the shortage of the pipe, so I found out what kind, and I asked, you know, hey, what kind of pipe are you looking for? And when I called some supply places in Arkansas, they said that they carried it. So I went back home and bought it, and when I brought it back out here, I found out that it was actually, that particular kind is not used in this state, and I have to follow the permit code. I now have to load it back up and haul it back to Arkansas, but thankfully the place we got it from is going to take it back, and so we're not going to be out any money, just really some time, and then like the labor that we use to load it, haul it, and unload it, reload it, and haul it back. So, you know, I should have asked more questions, but you live and learn. We are still exploring some solutions for that. I think we might have got it figured out, but I don't know that for sure. And you know, these are just things that you have to consider, like, you know, especially with all the supply shortages that we're having. You know, I went to go get some 16-foot gates. You know, a year ago I could go to Tractor Supply or a feed store and they'd have, you know, multiple options of the size gate I need, and now I've gone to 15 different stores in this area and I haven't been able to find any 16-foot gates. And so these are just some of the things that we're having to jump. You guys, you know, whenever you're watching this video later on, you know, maybe some supply chain issues will be fixed by then, but you know, we're hitting a few roadblocks and we're trying to find solutions. So as far as the electricity is concerned, I think we're pretty much square on that. I got my temporary electricity pole put in. The electric company came out and marked off where they're going to be putting the different poles on our property to bring electricity to this area. My temporary power pole passed an inspection today, so by the time I come back we probably will have power here, which is a big step towards getting out here and being functional out here. Being able to have electricity is a big deal. Right there's a stake, you can see it. That's where we're going to put the well, and the reason we decided to go with this spot is because of where it's located, where we feel like we will probably locate most of the other structures on our farm. Our barn is probably going to go somewhere in that vicinity of where that old building is. Once we're done using that building and we have the new barn in, it'll be close to the well. All of our gardens and greenhouses are going to go up on this high side over here, so also centrally located to where we put the well. And then when we build our forever home, it'll be up on this hill. So we chose this spot because of it being kind of in the middle and close to the majority of what we're going to use it for. The downside is that it's kind of far away from where the modular home's going to be and the shop. But we have to, you know, we'll run one pipe out that direction and hook up to those two things rather than putting the well out there and piping it back and hooking up to 5 or 6 different things. And so that was definitely something that took some brain power and consideration, because when you don't have fences yet, and you don't know where your fences are going to be, and you don't know where your barn is, and honestly you don't even know where your houses are at for sure, you know, and you're like, well, where do I put this, you know, where do I drill this very permanent thing, this well? It was like, well, so I really had to spend some time thinking out where was it going to go. I feel like I've settled into a good spot, and even if we change our minds, I think we'll be all right. Like I said in our last update video, the well is scheduled to be started and finished in roughly the last week of this month, and the septic should go in sometime in July. So as of right now, even with the other hang-ups that we've had with like the pipe that I bought and I'm having to take back, it still looks like we're going to be okay to move in by the end of July, beginning of August, which is kind of where we were hoping to. Things are still progressing. It's just been a lot of problem solving and figuring things out, and this is just part of it. So we're about to head out. I've got to move our stuff that we're leaving here over to my neighbor's house. He's going to be keeping an eye on it for me while I'm gone. And then I'm actually loading our tractor up and taking it to our friends at Big Bear Homestead, which are not too far away from here, and I'm gonna leave the tractor with them while I'm gone and come back and pick it up. That way he can get some stuff done that I'm sure he has been wanting to get done and needed a tractor for, so I'm not going to be using it while I'm not here. And I thought, yeah, help a guy out. Besides, he's helped me a ton already. So anyways, I'm gonna show you guys one more big change that we worked on this trip, and that has to do with the entrance that I talked about at the beginning of the video. I just want to show you guys what we put together, and I know that Jessica's gonna love it. You'll be able to see it on the video, but it really doesn't do it justice until you see it in person. But I think she's gonna love it. So here is the new entrance to our farm. We've still got one more board to put up. We ran out. Actually, I think what happened is we cut it the wrong length and had to use it somewhere else, so we'll get that fixed. But here's the new drive going into the farm. And so this right here, where this culvert is, right here, this is where the original gate was. Actually no, right there where that hole is. Here's where the original gate was, right across here. And so now we'll be offset considerably, and we trimmed up the trees on the entrance. And so I mean, just look at that, like that right there is beautiful. Look at that. I think she's gonna like it. Well guys, I hope that it conveys through the camera just the large amount of work that we've done this trip. We've made a lot of progress, got a lot of stuff done, still have a lot to do, but I'm feeling pretty good as far as our timelines. The progress on the utilities is also a big deal. I feel like we'll be good to go whenever it's time to actually be here, finally living here. So we're super excited. I'm excited to do the work. Jessica's excited to be out here. We can't wait to make this transition, and I'm gonna continue to do my best to take you guys along on the process and kind of show you what we're doing and when we're doing it. You know, it was a little difficult to include some of the stuff we were doing in this video because when you're trimming trees, it's kind of unpredictable, and I didn't want to smash the camera. And honestly, there was so much to do that I was kind of having to film by myself. I don't actually have a lot of help other than that comes out here to shooting the vlogs, and so I didn't have anyone to hold the camera while the other guys were working, taking the fences down. So I didn't get a lot of footage of like the tree trimming and stuff, but we will do our best to show you everything that we're doing. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for going on this journey of moving our farm from Arkansas to South Carolina. And thank you for just supporting our channel. We really appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the help that came out this week while I was here. We would not have gotten near as much done as we did if it hadn't been for all the help that came out. So thank you guys. I bless you. Until next time.